Hi and welcome to another episode of Startup Stories, where I interview the best and brightest startup founders and experts so you can be ahead of the curve with your own startup venture. This episode brings us together with Linda and Sofia from Casola, the first online tapas bar in Zurich. Linda, Sofia and their third co-founder Claudia started with the idea 3 years ago, when they realized they weren't really happy with the daily food options in Zurich. And they were looking for something between low-cost supermarket food and high-end restaurant menus, something with good quality and an affordable price. We discussed the first steps that the three friends took after deciding to go for it and how they registered a company. And if you're thinking about incorporating a company yourself, here's a quick warning from the founders. After the incorporation, you will receive hundreds of fake invoices addressed to your company, and you'll have to find the original and pay that one. So that's one challenge, but we also cover the biggest challenge when it's acquiring customers, as well as the personal challenge of launching a startup while having a side job, and many other more that we cover in this episode. Having Linda and Sofia on the show was a delight, and I'm super excited to share this conversation with all of you today. Enjoy! Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it, knowing that you have full-time jobs next to that startup. So I really appreciate you taking the time to answer some of my questions. Maybe we can start by each of you saying who you are and what you do for the startup you're working on.
Maybe I start. My name is Sofia. I work at Casola, and actually I quit my job to start the food startup. I'm in the papers. I'm the CEO, but actually we are equally important in the company, and we all help out with as much as we can.
Yeah, I mean that's everyone's as important, especially in the beginning. Yeah, CEO. I don't want to stop you from speaking, but I think in the beginning these titles, I mean, it's just to, as you say, in the paper, because people outside want to know,
exactly.
Who's the CEO, but in the team, you're like, we're all doing what we can to help each other out.
People who are not involved in the company, they don't understand what your role is, so you just say CEO and then they get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm Linda. I also work for Casola, and as Sofia said, everybody does a little bit of everything. And the only thing I'm happy that Claudia does the financial part. So it means that I'm a little bit more the one who looks for the design or for the kind of marketing part. And
Cool. Have you done design, or do you do design in your job?
No, at all. I'm in my full-time job. I'm in sales. So it's also something that I do in Casola, try to find new customer and to way of sales our product.
Yeah, very important job. Yeah. What was the initial idea, and how did the idea come about? There's a little bit about this on your website, but maybe you can share with our listeners why you're doing Casola, this food delivery.
Well, actually, it all started about 3 years ago when Claudia and I moved to Switzerland. We are both from Spain. And I already knew Linda from university. So we always talked about opening our own stuff, or let's call it startup.
Yeah.
With the idea of bringing a concept from the US that was working and bring it to Switzerland. Mm-hmm. Then it developed into our imaginary companies that were kind of crazy. And at the end, we realized that we were not happy with the food options in Zurich and in our daily jobs.
Yeah.
So we started thinking about what can we do to improve the food delivery of food options in and around Zurich.
Right.
So it all started with totally different things, and then it ended up with a problem that we three had at the moment. Casola was the idea of finding something in between the supermarket food and the restaurant. So it's good quality, but in an affordable price.
Yeah.
And Linda, you can explain which pros we had, each of us.
Yeah, I mean, for example, Claudia is working outside of the city, in the industrial area. So we are all used to eat good quality food, so we know what it means. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to be tasty. So for her it was a problem that she couldn't find anything where to eat at lunch, and so she ended up pissed off and stuff like that. But she hadn't also the time to cook every night for the day, for the next day.
Yeah.
And for me it was a little bit the same. I mean, I work in the city, so I had a lot of possibility. But maybe at night when you come home late and stuff like this, you go to the gym, you do stuff, you don't have any time or less to cook. So I was missing something that I could just take from my fridge and prepare, but still good.
Yeah.
So I think it was different need, but we were looking for the same. Yeah,
I totally know what you mean when you talk about the shopping mall food. Or my partner and I have been eating out of Coop for the last 6 months, and I'm so sick of it. It's really bad. And in the end, I looked at your prices. Your prices are not that much more than a lunch. It's a cheap lunch at Coop. It's just a small shitty salad.
Yeah.
I mean, I know all the assortment of Coop, Aldi, Migros, Denner. I know them pretty well. So I think I ate for an average of 8-9 francs.
Right.
And in our company, it's around between 13 and 15, depending of the dish.
Yeah.
But it also includes delivery.
Right. I mean, delivery is one topic I wanna talk to you about later, because it's quite a tricky thing in Switzerland. But definitely 13 to 15 francs is not expensive for a good meal. And it looks very delicious on your website.
Thank you.
But you need to order before 7 p.m. So whoever's listening, order before 7 p.m. and then they'll deliver next day. So what were the first steps you took? So you said, okay, we want to deliver food. What were the first steps you took? Because a lot of people, I'm asking because a lot of people have ideas. They're like, it would be great to have this food delivery. But I have a job and I don't have time. So how did you manage to take the first step? What did you do?
It was around summer when we all had holidays, and we started throwing ideas into the table. It would be cool if we could do this and maybe add this one. And then we had a list, and based on that list we were scratching out things that were impossible.
Yeah.
But it gave us a first sketch of the idea that we want to implement. The next step that we did was a business plan, but business plan not like we learned it at university.
Not the 20-page.
No. We didn't write any lines. We just threw some numbers into an Excel file.
Right.
And based on these numbers, we did a 5-year business plan, but we only looked at the first year or the first 2 months or 6 months. And after we had the idea pretty much clear, we realized that if we wanted to start, there had to be someone that left the job. And back then it was all open, all 3 of us were open to leave our jobs to start the company. I happened to work in a startup, and I was super excited of starting my own startup. Exactly. Working in a startup is great, but at the end you're working for an idea of someone else.
Again, yes. How did you do that? It sounds easy throwing in some numbers. So you said each meal is going to be 15 francs. The costs of the meal are going to be 5 or 3 or whatever. Yeah.
I think this is our strong. We are really lucky that, for example, Claudia, she's working in finance for a food company. So we could take kind of her template and fill it up with. We know how much food costs are in Switzerland because we used to calculate them at school. We know how much more or less are our personal costs, or we know that we didn't have the rent to pay for the location.
Yeah.
So we know more or less what the costs were if we do this amount of deliveries, and so we just started with the very negative, then a little bit more, until how much we have to deliver to pay a salary, to have a bigger kitchen, and to have maybe a profit one day. So it was like, it was like a kind of budget,
Yeah.
And I think this was kind of good at the time if we look at it now, because at the end we're already at stage 2 where we can pay a small salary to Sofia. So we already managed step 2 in this budget. So I mean,
is it really? You're already paying a salary?
Yeah, to myself.
That's amazing.
Well,
Really?
it's very little salary, but still, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's a beginning.
Yeah, it's a
Very
beginning. And I think it's good that we have the know-how about also food costs and stuff like this, and how much, this is coming from our studies, and we used to work in this industry, so it's familiar to us, the old thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool. How many? Do you have like a ballpark number? How many deliveries would you have to do to, I don't know, break even or make profit or?
We already did some kind of break even because the investment we made in the company, they're really little. We only need a small machine to pack the boxes, and the initial fees of creating a company, register a company.
Yeah. Plus your salary, if you take the minimum.
Well, my salary exactly. My salary is like increasing by the time that we get more deliveries.
Every month.
Every month, twice now.
You're gonna make more than the others.
Yeah. Now.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
Yeah. So the Excel sheet, it changed a lot because at the beginning we had an average price of around 11 francs. So we increased the average price.
Yeah.
So at the end you're like changing stuff, so it's more real.
Of course. Yeah, you adapt.
Yeah.
So then you had the financials, and you said, okay, we can somehow do this. It makes sense. What was the next step?
Well, registering the company.
Yeah. We'll start with all this kind of thing, creating the company and insurances and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you had this, I mean, we didn't know exactly if we want to do like 5-6 plates or every day. It was like still kind of open. And I think then after we started the web page, we understood, okay, we can do this and this.
Yes, there's a funny story. When we were at the project manager, someone who helped us out with the papers to send to the register.
Yeah.
He asked us, okay, what's the purpose of the company?
Yeah.
And we were all three sitting there like, actually, let's keep it wide.
Yeah, let's keep it wide open. So yeah.
Exactly. So it was like this, like we had an idea, but we never wrote it down.
Yeah.
Until we were in front of this...
of this guy.
Or important guy. And we were like a bit lost. So yeah, as Linda said, that once we did all the paperwork, we started with the website, and then it was cool to visualize your idea, and that helped us also.
Yeah, I think so, and yeah, I think also every time we had to explain our idea to somebody, we understood more what we wanted to do, because it's also 3 people. Everybody has another. I don't know, another idea of the idea.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and for Sofia is more important. This part for me was important. The other part, and Claudia maybe no. I thought we were thinking something else. So I think we're still not finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The idea is still not completely finished. I think.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, because I'm also working on a project, and it really helps to sit down and write it down. Like, what do you mean and what do I mean, and then kind of get it. straight. And you're 3 people, so there's 3 different imaginations working. I just wanna quickly jump into the registration part, which is, it sounds boring because it's admin, but everybody has to do it at some point. How did that go for you? Was it so you incorporated a GmbH?
Yes.
So you took 20,000 francs, which is the minimum, put it in there, and did any one of you have knowledge of how to incorporate a company?
Claudia did.
All right.
Because his father has a company in Switzerland.
Yeah.
We put 21,000 francs, so it was equal, the 3 of us.
Yeah, right. Okay.
The notary told us that it was the first time in his life that saw this.
That someone put 1,000 more?
Exactly. Instead of 30,000.
Right. Yeah, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so Claudia had a bit of knowledge, but it was pretty easy. We, as I said before, we had this project manager who helped us out through the whole process.
Yeah.
And we were sitting with him, I think, 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And then we met again to sign into the notary.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Was that a certain official service or a friend of yours?
No, it's official service.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good because also, we have no idea of what on this 10 page is written on, if you go through, you understand maybe 1 word out of 5, and we are all not native German speakers, so it was 1 word out of 10, and so it was good because it's true, but this is so hard.
To be honest, I don't understand.
Yeah, so
I'm figuring out now.
he was highlighting the important stuff, and do you understand this sentence? And we were okay, we understand, and then other stuff was it's not important. It was I think it was really good.
You're just hoping everything's fine. You just trust him. Everything's probably fine. Yeah, because we'll have to deal with that as well.
Then be very careful after you register. You start to receive hundreds of invoices.
Right, you receive fake invoices, right?
Yeah.
But hundreds of
really
invoices.
Yeah. I thought it was 1 or 2.
No, and you have to among these 100, you have to find the one that it's the official one.
How did you find it? How did you know?
He told us, no? Or something. He advised us.
But at the end it was with a Swiss flag or something. We said, okay, let's
because
gamble.
they look in the hand register with new registers, and then they start to...
Exactly, it's companies from abroad that just automatically send you an invoice because you registered.
Crazy.
And you think you have to pay. That's bad, and there's probably people paying it.
Yeah, that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a website, which is beautiful, by the way. I looked at your pictures. I have to do pictures for my own website, for our own website. I'm like, it's also about food. And I saw your website, and I was like, wow, what did you do that? How did you do that? The food looks really delicious, and it's really professionally made.
About this, I have to say we are very lucky. Because my flatmate Manuel, he just started food photography, so it's he have all the stuff is really really professional.
Yeah.
So we started with buying pictures also from the web, and now we can just ask him, and we just did a new photo shooting with him last week or 2 weeks ago. And it's super cool because it's really homemade. It's my...
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So if you need a food photographer, I can introduce you.
Definitely. The pictures look really beautiful. It's really, it gives, and it's important.
But I have to say that the dishes, the pictures are made by us with the iPhone. So it's just the home the website pictures there from Manu. But the dishes are made by us because we change the menu every week.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So
there's a four weekly menus.
We cannot organize a photo shooting every week. Yeah. So if the dishes are look tasty, it means that they're super tasty because they're made with a shitty camera.
Yeah.
Good point. So you have the website, and how do you acquire your first customers? That's always the point where you see if people
want it. The first order, you mean?
Yes. How did you get your first orders?
It was friends. I think it was really just friends, and they already know about the project, so they were waiting that we are online, and then we went online. We said, okay, now you have to order.
Now order now.
And it was, but it's the only way.
It's
also, like to test the website if you have bugs and stuff, and what if it's, because for us it works perfect maybe, but if the customer, they have totally another dealing with the website, we know exactly where to click and stuff, but so it was at the beginning it was really friends. We still have, most of them are friends. But now we also have other people.
We talked about it briefly before. You're trying to acquire, or you're experimenting with different ways to acquire customers. Can you maybe talk about a few ways that work and a few that didn't?
I don't know. It's hard because I think this we said is the most difficult part, because marketing, we didn't started marketing and stuff like this, and we don't really work in this kind of thing. So it's totally something new, and we're just trying what we know. For example, I don't know, social media we tried, but it's also hard because also social media is not really. They're not really customers. They're more like people. Maybe you visit the web page or stuff like this, but it's a really big target. So to bring the people to buy something is something, because you don't know if they have the need to buy it. So it's like you have to find somebody who has exactly this need in this moment. So this is the tricky part, you know? And what we tried, for example, you had also newsletter, is something that you get so many newsletter every day that you don't even look at them anymore. And we still have people who go on the web page through the newsletter, and it's good because we can inform the people about our weekly menu. What we had a good response is, for example, a newsletter on a public blog, which is really popular in Zurich. So you can post your ad, and this was the moment we had more people on the web page, but also there we didn't reach so many order. It's like it doesn't mean anything if a lot of people go onto the web page if they don't order.
No, exactly.
And this is the difficult part, I think, to make the people understand that they have the need about your product.
Like at the beginning it was more B2C, like friends, connections, people who you met even at parties or in Hive or something.
Hey, you want some food tomorrow?
Exactly.
Probably don't remember the after.
But then once you have this little community, you learn about them, you learn where they work, then you start digging a bit. How can we reach the rest of the
team or
of the company? And then it's more, the focus right now is more B2B.
Right.
And this Sofia, I mean, she's putting a lot of effort in this, and we're really happy about it. She really goes door by door every company and wherever she can, and she leaves the flyer. And this is something really appreciate, because first of all, not everybody can do that. I mean, it's like something not so easy to break the ice like this.
You kind of need some courage to. Nothing will happen. Logically, nobody will hurt you or anything. But still, that's the logical part. And then you go out, and it's like, oh fuck, no, I need to go in there and leave my flyer.
And she's really brave and strong in this, and you also need time, so she has to go everywhere and do it, and we hope that we had some
good responses.
The problem is you also have to do research before, if they have a canteen, how big they are, and it's like
that's true.
It takes a lot of time.
Have you figured out what type of company works better? Or are
it's a surprise. You have big companies with 700 employees that there's a whole team that they want to order every week. Then you have a startup that they don't have time to go for lunch. Then I have architects who I don't know why they are.
It's just they just like your food.
It's a small office. I think they're like 25, and they also order once a week. So it's totally different. We have also private clients that they ordered for themselves for the evenings for the whole week.
Yeah.
So they order on Sunday for the whole week already.
And then you bring every day?
No, I bring it on Monday.
Right.
And they can...
And they freeze it or they
put it in the fridge or they freeze it. Like the meals, they last 3-4 days. It's for also lazy people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm lazy, obviously, because I was really fascinated by that. So obviously you can do this because you have time. There's one topic I wanted to ask you about, is this being an employee and working on a startup at the same time. Maybe you can say more about that. How is that? A lot of people feel that if they want to start a startup, they have to quit their job and totally focus on that. You are proof that you can kind of do it also with a job. In the beginning.
Yeah.
Although you do have someone full time on that.
I think.
But what would you say are the challenges for you doing that, and why, and what are the good sides as well?
I mean, we are really lucky that Sofia chose to leave her job and she's doing 100% Casola because she's working 100% for the company, and we are working maybe 20 to 30% to the company. And it depends. It depends also how do you like your full-time job. I mean, if I wouldn't like it, I would quit too. You know what I mean? The problem is that you do it and you're in a kind of comfort zone. You know, like you have your salary, you have your income, you're doing your job and you like your team and everything. So it's like you put effort in your startup, but it's not like if it wouldn't be your main job.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like and you have to be ready to put all your free time in this.
Yeah.
So you have. I think it's something that we see also in our company, that we. I mean, she's totally 100%, and we are also 100%. But you can feel it that sometimes it's less because you still have your head also in your other job. You know, sometimes she thinks about Casola, and sometimes it's hard for us also for me sometimes to totally be in your startup because you're still also thinking in your other job, your main job. So it's like, I don't know if it's better or I don't know. You have to choose yourself, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's also, I think, like a kind of personality thing, and not everybody has the want to risk so much, or you know.
Yeah.
Also, if you're still in Switzerland, you still also, if you quit your job, you do something else for some. It doesn't happen. Nothing happened, you know.
Yeah.
But you think a lot of different things if you quit totally your job for a startup. You know,
it totally changes how you approach the day.
And maybe it's also like you think you're 30, so it's now maybe in the moment where you do your career a little bit career. So it's like, there are different things coming up.
Yeah, it's not very clear.
No.
There's not an easy decision.
No. But I think it's very personal. Everybody, reacts in another way and is ready to do it in another way somehow.
Yeah. I feel for me it would be, I quit and went all in, but I feel like having a side job or a full-time job would be in kind of a way to start something with less risk, financial risk. Obviously, for me, I couldn't do it. I would do it, I don't know, the first few months until a certain point where I can say, okay, this startup really will go somewhere.
But depends also what kind of startup you have, you know? I don't know if our startup could work if, we have to cook, we have to delivery, it's maybe if you do something where you have just to do office work or something, it's different. Where you can work at night or you can work on Sundays, for the startup, but depend what kind of thing you're doing also.
Yeah.
She's working when also the other people are working, it's like she's not working at night or so depend what you're doing. Yeah. But I think also nowadays it's easier because you have the possibility to work part-time, like
It gets more and more.
I mean, if you have a startup, you still can work when you still have a little bit of free time.
Yeah.
You can do part-time job or something like this.
Yeah, there's different ways of doing it. It's cool that you did it. Two people working or have a full-time job, and you have a full-time job in the startup. If we can talk about the product a little bit, or the products. How do you come up with the recipes? Because you have 4 recipes every week, right?
Yeah, we have 4 recipes every week. That's really, we all 3 like very much cooking, so we cook very often, and when we see a recipe or something that we like, we just take it and we change it, and then we do it. It's not that we invent everything, because we don't have the time to invent. It's really hard. So we just take different from the internet or from blogs or friends or something, and then just you put it in on the web, and you look seasonality and what now the products are. We take Swiss products and all this kind of stuff. And the problem is you never know. I mean, our goal is really to stay tasty and homemade. Of course, it's gonna be healthy because it's fresh, but we're not like local, vegan. We're still our authentic kind of way, and we try to be balanced, but we still have. And it's hard because, for example, we always thought, we have to be more vegetarian because now is the vegetarian vibes and everything, and then we noticed that the most sold product is the meat product. So it's like, what's going on? It's really hard to understand people.
Especially with
it's
food,
crazy.
Because it's not you don't have our target group is men from 25 to 30. No, it's everyone eats food, and there's meat eaters across the board, and it's really hard to have a
you think you're so influenced about this trends, which you think that everybody's following the trend, and in the end you realize that nobody follows this trend. Real normal people don't follow this trend. They just want to eat normal. You know what I mean?
Most people do.
Yeah.
The trends are just in the newspaper.
But you're so affected of all of them that we started to think, okay, vegetarian is super important, and less meat, or just and at the end you say, but it's not what they actually want. It's like.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, we don't follow trends, we don't follow superfoods, but there are some superfoods, and there are some vegan dishes in our menu.
Yeah.
It's not that we follow these things, they just happen because we have been eating like this since we know it. Sometimes you find some mix between Italian, Swiss, Spanish dish in the menu. Yeah. I go every week, also twice to the market. Yeah. And then normally it's Linda who plans the meals, and then I talk to her saying, listen, this, for example, this week we have 2 dishes with asparagus. Yeah. But it's because last week I saw the asparagus in the market, and they look so good that I say, okay, we have to use them.
Yeah.
And it's planned a bit like this, seasonality is a big point in our menu planning.
Yeah, I think that's really cool that you have this weekly thing. So it's a surprise if you're a customer, you're like, I'm curious what's going to be next week.
Yeah,
I think that's really nice.
Yeah, but it's also hard because you have to do a new picture, you have to.
Yeah, for you it's a lot more work.
It could be. But
do you recycle old recipes? Do you do you say, okay, we do 30?
Yeah, we also
plan. And
plan.
We see if we can take 1 or 2 new ones, old ones, and kind of reuse it.
They are more new than old ones.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that it's our first year, so we don't have anything from last year, and since in the market there's these products you cannot use right now, or I don't know, in the winter you cannot use something with strawberries.
Yeah.
You can find them in Coop and Migros, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We try to stay really seasonal.
Yeah. And we also look what the customer like. Some dishes are really like runners, so we just do it again and again because they love it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So one topic I wanted to ask you about is deliveries. So how is that in Switzerland? How is that in Zurich? I imagine it. Well, if you do it yourselves, you don't have to pay a service to deliver it, which I have researched and it's very expensive.
Yeah, we researched
It's
it too.
crazy expensive.
Yes.
Really, don't do a delivery service. if you're
We already,
Yeah.
we already tested.
What were the options you tested, and what's your take on delivery service in Zurich or on starting one?
Well, the first idea was obviously to not to deliver ourselves.
Outsource it.
Exactly, to outsource it. But since you commented it, like it was horrendously expensive compared to the price of our meal box.
Yeah. So for the listeners, so what I researched, maybe you have another number. We're getting to 10 to 15, maybe even higher francs per delivery, depending on the weight, obviously, which is basically
Yeah, exactly.
a meal.
We found between 7, 8, 10 this range, and then I said to myself, like, I actually have time to do it myself. Why don't I start doing it myself until we reach the point that I cannot manage it?
Yeah.
So based on that, we also had delivery ranges that are not exact to the minute.
Yeah.
So it's like 1 hour range.
Yeah.
And then I can organize pretty well the route.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like this. Like it didn't make sense to pay 7 francs or 8 francs to a delivery company if the meals are sold for 15. Like it would
That's
be
right.
to pay the delivery guy almost.
Yeah. No, I think also if we get to the point that we really can afford like a delivery to outsource the delivery.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense to just buy a like electric scooter or something and hire somebody for some hours so they just it's more intelligent than outsource it.
Yeah, that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
You'll be facing, and we also will be facing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we are lucky that also we have a car. So
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing, you
no public transportation delivery.
But yeah, she's doing with the bike.
I once did a delivery, and it was 14 minutes. 14 minutes of bike.
Wow.
It was outside the city. And these are the first customers you just deliver, even if they're outside, because you're like, hey, it's a customer. I'm gonna deliver food. And I was sweating when I was arriving. It was really, a super nice lady with a little girl. It was very nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
The thing with the bike is that we actually are not allowed to do it because we have to deliver it like with a specific temperature. So
even if it's hot.
It's not hot. They're cold.
Really, because you cook them.
Exactly. You just have to. Well, we have always one dish a week that you can eat cold or hot.
Yeah.
And the rest, you can heat them up in the pan or in the microwave. So it's like you don't have to order for the next day. You can order for 2 or 3 days and then just keep it in the fridge and then or take it home for the evening.
Right.
And if I deliver by bike, it's just for friends.
Yeah.
And it's really close to where we cook.
If you think about what you're doing right now, the stage you're right now, what's the biggest challenge you're working on?
I think it's still acquiring customers.
That's always. I think that's always.
This is the most. Yeah, this is the most challenging part. Also, it's also because, for example, most of the customer think we are a delivery service, like that they go on the webpage, they can order now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to make them understand that they just have to order the day before or maybe plan the week, and this kind of thing that make you think should we change our model or no, we should explain it better. So it's you always struggle about if is it built in the right way or should we adapt it or not? But at the end, no, you shouldn't adapt it. You should maybe it's just like you didn't reach your customer, It's also how much money we have to invest in this kind of marketing stuff, which it's hard. It's difficult to know.
Everything's uncertain.
Yeah.
It's all up to you to decide. Do you put 100 francs per week in marketing or 200 or where do you market? What do you say?
And as I said before, like our customers are totally different. Like they're all good, but they're totally different. So we don't if we thought we were going to one direction and then a big customer comes and said like, we want your services, like, okay, should we change and just focus on the big customers? And right now it's like we have a pool of different customers, so it complicates the task of targeting the customers or the new customers.
Would it make sense to try to cluster them? Let's say maybe you have 5 different types, and then have calls with them and try to find out why they order. Kind of try to find out or learn more about them, and see if maybe for 1 or 2 you see, oh, this like for example the startup, it really makes sense for them, and now we're gonna just target other startups, and for 2-3 weeks we just do that. Or
yeah, we did that.
You did that. All right. And what came out? Nothing really conclusive.
I mean, for sure, they all have a common thing, is that they like to eat, so they're not happy with what they're eating right now.
Yeah.
And they like what they had. Like, one really positive thing is that we have maybe 90% of our customers are recurring customers.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So the thing is like really the new acquisition, like where can we go? Like where can I just ring the bell and say like, hey, we're this. And as Linda said, it's difficult because there's not so many food startups or like delivery of this kind of food in Zurich or in Switzerland or even in the world. I think it's only a few, and most of them is like delivery. They associate it with pizza and burger and Sunday evening.
That's true. Sunday evening. That's true. Yeah.
So it's you also have to explain the whole concept before they even want to order.
Well, those are challenges for every startup, but I'm really curious to see how you take it from here. So there's one question I always ask my guests is if there's any book or piece of content that you read about that you would, or did you just start?
I think like Linda and me, we both work, Claudia some kind also in startups, so it's not that we had to read anything about it, it's like we were living it. I was trying to learn as much as I could from where I was working and just making some notes. I knew that even if I take these notes, I would do also the same mistakes that I saw in the company. But I think it was it is still your daily job,
which is much better than books, really, to be honest.
I mean, we are just like I think the company where we're working, we're in the same stadium just like 10 years ago. That we are. So it's like you can see it's kind of same problem, but just on a other scale. You know, we are talking about hundreds. There's only a little bit more. But at the end, we're just like you have the same problem. You have to find your customer. You have to find an investor, and you have to promote your product. And you have lots of competition. This is also something that I think it's hard today compared to the past. I think there's lots of competition.
It's much easier to start, so there's much more people, many more people than maybe 100 years ago. But it's true.
What that consumer or what?
No, to start, it's much easier to start startups. I mean, you need a website and a bit more, and that's it. So there's a lot.
But I think it's also more difficult to survive than.
Exactly. That's true. That's true.
I mean. But it's cool. I think also Zurich is really affects you in kind of way. You know, like you have so much energy from other people starting things and stuff compared to other city. That makes everything. Also, if in case you fail, okay. I mean, it's not so terrible because 100 people failed before you, or you heard about it, other people, and you talk about it with people. So it's like, at least you tried.
At least you tried, and you learned so much from it.
Actually, I had one blog that they were sending me weekly emails with a list of 10 points. Like, I don't know, there was like the typical, it's like 10 things to be a good boss. Or 10 things.
Also. You remember on LinkedIn?
I don't know your LinkedIn. No, but yeah, I had these weekly emails
You know?
that I read during my lunch break or something.
Yeah.
I think it was
Really?
Yeah. Not now, before when I was working.
You are reading on your lunch break now? Seriously? What? Okay, I will try to find it. There's a lot of blog posts around that. That was it from my side. Thank you so much for taking the time and answering and sharing your story. That was it. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Startup Stories. Make sure to check out the show notes with additional links at nerdentrepreneurs.com. And if you like our podcast, leave a review on iTunes. See you on Monday.